Hi there, welcome to this listening exercise. What I'd like you to do is watch the video that you'll see in just a second. As the speaker or speakers are talking, try to identify or catch all of those pieces of vocabulary that you'll see on the left hand side. The vocabulary will be presented in order, so if you miss a piece of vocabulary, then please rewind the video and watch it again and listen carefully to make sure that you catch every single piece of vocabulary presented. All of the vocab that you'll see is vocab that you can either use in your exam English for FCE or CAE, or in your careers in terms of business English or legal English. This is wonderful vocabulary. If you don't know what this vocab is, make sure you learn those phrases and use them either in your exams or in your careers. And that's precisely why you'll see that this video is done for both cramtheexam.com and writtenlegalenglish.com. Okay. Go and do that listening exercise and see if you can catch all of those pieces of vocab.
The small stage was an awkward spot for a big blow-up, a breakdown in diplomacy between NAFTA partners after a contentious round of trade talks.
We have seen proposals that would turn back the clock on 23 years of predictability.
Frankly, I am surprised and disappointed by the resistance to change from our negotiating partners.
That cannot be achieved with a winner-take-all mindset or an approach that seeks to undermine NAFTA rather than modernize it.
The blunt exchanges lasted 20 minutes, and after the mandatory handshakes, Canada's Foreign Affairs Minister abruptly retreated to the Canadian Embassy, where she emerged with a more diplomatic tone.
I don't want to minimize the very real differences which exist between us. And the firmness of Canada's positions on some issues is something I will not apologize for.
Canada and Mexico are both frustrated with proposals made by the U.S. in the last two rounds of talks. The Canadian delegation is already outright rejecting several of those demands, including changes to the North American auto sector, dismantling Canada's protected dairy system, and adopting a sunset clause that would force all three countries to recommit to NAFTA every 5 years.
If it's a negotiating tactic, it's Bush League. It's the kind of thing you'd expect from a low-level real estate developer, not from a superpower.
And I wanted to tell you.
Donald Trump has mused about tearing up NAFTA, and during his meeting with the Prime Minister last week, asked Justin Trudeau if he'd consider a bilateral deal between Canada and the U.S. instead of NAFTA.
I believe the President of the United States when he says he wants bilateral deals. He's a person who likes bilateral deals because the relative influence of the United States goes up.
But Chrystia Freeland says there is still some goodwill at the table from all sides after the countries agreed to extend the cooling-off period between talks, which will now be scheduled past the Christmas deadline officials had hoped to meet. The U.S. insists NAFTA is lopsided and won't back down until it says a fair agreement is reached and the American trade deficit is eliminated. That is going to be a significant challenge given the firm positions taken by both Canada and Mexico already. Wendy.
Well, it's certainly dramatic, but this isn't necessarily unusual for trade negotiations, is it?
No, trade is full of drama, and that should be kept in mind when watching all of this unfold. You'll remember during the final stretch of the Canada-European Free Trade Deal, Chrystia Freeland walked out and cried on camera during a tense point, which was an incredibly successful tactic. Storming out of discussions is not out of the norm and happened behind the scenes during those original free trade talks 3 decades ago between Canada and the U.S. Wendy.
We'll see what happens. Thanks so much, Katie. Katie Simpson.
Thanks. Good work. I'm sure you managed to catch all of those pieces of vocab. If you want to try more listening exercises, then come back to the YouTube channels for cramtheexam.com or writtenlegalenglish.com. Exactly the same listening exercises will be put up on both channels, so you can access them from 2 different points. If you want to improve your exam English and do more listening exercises in terms of your FCE or CAE, then go to cramtheexam.com. If you want to improve your business or legal writing, then go along to writtenlegalenglish.com and have a look at the resources we've got there.